So you're moving to London, or you're coming here to visit, and you want to get to know the city and feel at home. Well, I've got 10 essential words and phrases that you need to know before you come here. For example, what's the gherkin? Who's Boris and why does he have a bike? And what on earth is an Oyster card? If you're ready, let's run the intro. Okay, number one, an Oyster card. An Oyster card. This is a card that will allow you to travel around London, on the underground, on the buses, and on the trains. It works very simply. It's a card which you add money to, let's say £10, £20, and then you beep it whenever you travel. So if you're getting onto the underground, you beep it on the machine. If you're getting on the bus, you beep it on the machine there. And it will help you to get around London cheaper than if you buy single tickets. So if you're moving to London or you're coming to London, this is an absolute essential. So make sure you get an Oyster card as soon as you arrive in London. Second essential word, the tube. The tube. This is the local nickname that we give to the London Underground. This is the underground system of trains that take you all around London, but we call it the tube. So you might ask someone, how do I get to Oxford Circus? They'll tell you, just go by tube. Just go by tube. That means take the London Underground. Number three, a Boris bike. A Boris bike. Now this is the nickname that Londoners gave to the bicycles that you can hire and ride around the centre of London. Now these days they're called Santander cycles because of the company that sponsor the programme. But when they were originally introduced to London, they were called Boris bikes because the former mayor Boris Johnson was the person that brought the scheme to London. So that's why they're called Boris bikes. As I say, now they're called Santander cycles. That will probably change again in time. So they're fantastic, super useful, great way to get around London is you could go to a docking station, you use your card, you can rent a bike for half an hour for the whole day, it's up to you. But yeah, really fun, especially great to get around the parks of London like Hyde Park, Regent's Park and stuff like that. It's a nice way to see the city. We're going to look at two different areas of London now. First of all, the West End. This is seen as the commercial centre of London. This is where a lot of the main shopping areas are and also a lot of the theatre as well. So areas like Covent Garden, Oxford Street, Soho, these areas are all part of the West End. In contrast, we have the City or the Square Mile, and this is the main financial area. This is where all the banks, the financial institutions are. So London has two main sections. You have the West End and the City and the Square Mile. You'll also hear people talk about the East End of London, and this is the area to the east of the city. So this is places like Shoreditch, Bethnal Green. These days, very trendy, very lively. In the past, they were generally the poorer working class areas, but that's changed a lot recently. And as I say, they're quite trendy. So the East End definitely has a character about it. It has a vibrancy to it. Definitely worth checking out. London has an obsession with giving nicknames to our buildings. So for example, the Gherkin, a distinctive building in the city. Why is it called the Gherkin? Because it looks like a gherkin, of course. Another example would be the walkie-talkie. The walkie-talkie. It looks like a walkie-talkie. Now, it's good to know some of these nicknames because if someone is telling you where a restaurant is, for example, they might say, oh yeah, it's right next to the walkie-talkie. Well, if you know the nickname, then you know where they're talking about. On the outskirts of London, we have a motorway called the M25. It is an orbital road, so it goes all the way around London. You'll probably most likely hear it on the radio, them talking about traffic jams on the M25. But it's a very important road because it represents for many people the beginning and end of London. Now if you live in London for long enough, you'll hear so many people talking about the congestion charge. The congestion charge. This is the money that you have to pay if you want to drive a car into the centre of London. There is a perimeter all around the centre of London, and if you drive your car over that perimeter and into the centre, you have to pay a certain amount of money, which I think is quite expensive. So you want to be careful. The concept here is that they want to reduce traffic in the centre of London, help reduce pollution, noise, etc., traffic jams. So that's why they introduced this scheme. So the actual area is called the congestion zone, and then the congestion charge is the amount of money you have to pay. This is another interesting one. The home counties, the home counties. Now England is divided up into counties, a bit like how America is divided up into states. And the home counties are all the counties connected to London or surrounding London. So to the north you've got Hertfordshire, to the east Essex, to the south you've got Kent and Surrey, and to the west you've got Berkshire. So these are considered to be the home counties, the counties closest to London. And it's quite possible that you'll hear them referred to in the media, newspapers, TV, radio, etc., talking about the home counties. A very London thing is the Evening Standard. This is the local London newspaper that people pick up on their way home from work. Now, it used to be you had to pay for it, now it's free, and you'll find next to every tube station around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, somebody handing out the Evening Standard, and they'll call it the Standard. The Standard. They'll go, Standard, Standard, get your Standard, and you can take it for free and you read the local news. And I really recommend, if you're in London, pick up an Evening Standard so that you know what's going on in the city on that day. Now, you probably know the name of the river in London, but you might not know how to pronounce it. So let's just quickly do that, just in case, right? We pronounce it the Thames. The Thames. Not Thames or Thames, Thames, the River Thames. And finally, London is a football crazy city. We love the sport here. And there are 11 professional football teams in the top leagues in London. So you'll hear people talking about the teams, but you'll also hear their nicknames. Now, I'm just going to pick out the top 4 teams. You've got Tottenham Hotspur, they're known as Spurs. You've got Chelsea, they're known as the Blues. You've got Arsenal, they're known as the Gunners, and you've got West Ham, known as the Hammers. So, you might hear people around you talking about Spurs, the Blues, the Hammers, the Gunners, etc. So keep your ears open for any of those names. And if you're in the city, make sure you go to a match. There is nothing quite like going to a Premier League football match, especially in London. If you get to see a London derby between 2 teams in London, it's the best thing. It's fantastic. So definitely check that out if you can. Guys, how was that? Did you enjoy that? So many useful words and names for things in London. You are now ready to come to London, I promise you. If you know all those words and phrases, you already have such a great understanding of London and local life here. Of course, the best way to continue that is to come here and live it yourself. Make sure you check out my Instagram account and my Instagram stories, and of course my Facebook page where I put daily English content. I put new videos out every Tuesday and every Friday to help you take your English to the next level. Thank you so much for hanging out with me again, guys. I've really enjoyed this one. This is Tom, the Chief Dreamer, saying goodbye.